Night Bus, page 35. My father arrives on a night bus, his hat in his hands. It is May now, and the rain is coming down. Later, with the end of his reign, will come a sweet smell of honeysuckle. But for now, there is only a sky opening in my father's tears. I'm sorry, he whispers. The fight is over for now. Tomorrow we will travel as a family back to Columbus, Ohio. Hope and Dell fighting for a place on my father's lap. Greenville, with its separate ways growing small behind us. For now, my parents stand hugging in the warm Carolina rain. No past, no future, just as perfect now. After Greenville, number 1, page 36. After the chicken is fried and wrapped in wax paper, tucked gently into cardboard shoe boxes and tied with string. After the cornbread is cut into wedges, the peaches washed and dried. After the sweet tea is poured into mason jars, twisted tight, and the deviled eggs are scooped inside their egg white beds. Slipped into porcelain bowls that are my mother's now, a gift. Her mother sends with her on the journey. After the clothes are folded back into suitcases and the hair ribbons and shirts washed and ironed, after my mother's lipstick is on and my father's scratchy beginnings of a build are gone, after our faces are coated with a thin layer of Vaseline, gently wiped off again with a cool, wet cloth, then it's time to say goodbye, our goodbyes. The small clutch of us children pressed against my grandmother's apron. Her tears quickly blinked away. After the night falls and it's safe for brown people to leave, the South without getting stopped and sometimes beaten, always questioned. Are you one of those freedom riders? Are you one of those civil rights people? What gives you the right? We board on Greyhound bus, bound for Ohio. Rivers, page 38. The Hawking Rivers move like a flowing armway away from the Ohio River, runs through town as though it's chasing its own freedom the same way. The Ohio runs north from Virginia until it's safely away from the South. Each town with Hawking touches tells a story. Athens, Coalville, Lancaster, Nelsonville. Each waits for the Hawking water to wash through. Then, as the river remembers where it belongs and what it belongs to, it circles back, joining up with the Ohio again, as if to say, I'm sorry, as if to say, I went away from here, but now I'm home again. Leaving Columbus, page 40. When my parents fight for the final time, my older brother is 4, my sister is nearly 3, and I just celebrated my first birthday without celebration. There is only one photograph of them from their time together, a wedding picture, torn from a local newspaper, him in a suit and tie, her in a bride gown, beautiful although neither one is smiling. Only one photograph. Maybe the memory of Columbus was too much for my mother to save anymore. Maybe the memory of my mother was painful stone inside my father's heart. What did it look like to them when she finally left him? A woman nearly 6 feet tall, straight backed and proud, heading down a cold Columbus street, with two small children beside her and a still crawling baby in her arms. My father, whose reddish-brown skin would later remind me of the red dirt of the South and all that was rich about it, standing in the yard, one hand on a black metal railing, the other lifting into a weak wave goodbye, as though we were simply guests, leaving Sunday's supper. Part 11. The stories of South Carolina runs like river. Our names, page 45. In South Carolina, we become the grandchildren's gunners, three little ones, Sister Irby's grands, and Marian's babies. And when we are called by our names, my grandmother makes them all one Hope Del Jackie. But my grandfather takes a sweet time saying each as if he has a day long or a whole lifetime. Ohio behind us. Page 46. When we ask our mother how long we'll be here, sometimes she says for a while, and sometimes she tells us not to ask anymore, because she doesn't know how long we'll stay in the house where she grew up. When we ask, she tells us when she grew up on the land she's always known. When we ask, she tells us this is where she used to belong. But her sister, Caroline, our Aunt Kay, has moved to the north. Her brother Odell is dead now, and her baby brother Robert says he's almost saved enough money to follow Caroline to New York City. Maybe I should go there too, my mother says. Everyone else, she says, has a new place to be now. Everyone else has gone away, and now coming back home isn't really coming back home at all. The garden. Page 48. Each spring, the dark nickel town dirt is filled with the promise of what the earth can give back to you if you work the land, plant the seeds, pull the weeds. My southern grandfather missed slavery by one generation. His grandfather has been owned. His father worked for the land from dawn till dusk, and the promise of cotton and a little pay. This is what he believes in. Your hands in the cool dirt until the earth gives back to you all that you've asked of it. Sweet peas and collards, green peppers and cooks, lettuce and melon, berries and peaches, and one day when I'm able, my grandfather says, I'm gonna figure out how to grow myself a pecan tree. God gives you what you need, my grandmother says. Best not to ask for more than that. My grandfather says, and goes back to working in the land, pulling from it all we need.